Most impressive, Raiden.
Yeah. Gonna have to do a lot more than float around like that to beat me.
Indeed, indeed. So, now you are in Sukumi Old Town. Pretty much still the same as after war in 1990s.
Looks like it.
Make your way through town. You'll need to pass through an abandoned hotel to reach the hill. The hotel is serving as headquarters for cyborg forces patrolling the new city.
Sounds like a blast. And why exactly am I walking right into enemy HQ?
Well, it's not a stealth mission, eh? Striking them will weaken their entire forces. Besides, we don't want them stabbing you in the back.
All right. At least I'll get to top off my electrolytes.
This is the spirit. Trust me, it is easier than knocking on refinery front gate. Raiden, let's recap your route.
Shoot.
First, continue down the road you are on. An abandoned hotel is up ahead. This road ends at the hotel. Enter and you should be able to reach a hill from the roof. There are more Soviet ruins past that hill. Get through there and you will reach the rear of the refinery.
Head for the hotel roof. Got it. Hey, Kev. That piece of shit who killed Mani. Is he one of those almighty winds?
Yeah. Goes by Sundowner. It's a folk name for this warm air current in Southern California. He's also, well, not the formal head of Desperado, but pretty much their de facto leader. Let's see. Born in Alabama, family was poor. Solid student, decent grades, but no money for college, so he joined the army. Says he fought in Panama in '89, then Iraq again, Afghanistan. In 2008, he drops out of the service and starts doing merc work for various PMCs. He was active all through the SOP years. Built up quite a reputation. Apparently, the Sundowner handle comes from all the blood he leaves behind. Looks like the sunset. Anyway, an IED put him out of action for a few years. But then, cyborg tech brought him out of retirement. The army investigated him for possible war crimes. A few times, looks like. Desecrating remains, torturing POWs, some wrongful deaths. No convictions, though.
Pretty rosy past, huh? Not that I'm one to talk.
Hey, come on, buddy. You know that's not fair. You were just a kid. You didn't know what you were doing. And it's not like they gave you a choice.
Yeah. Thanks, Kev. Kev, you dig up anything more on Jetstream Sam?
Yeah, actually a bit. Still a lot of missing pieces.
I'll take what I can.
Right. Full name, Samuel Rodriguez. Born in Brazil, so I guess that'd be more like Samuel Rodriguez. He's actually not one of the Winds of Destruction. He's not even a Desperado employee.
Yeah. Didn't seem like your typical PMC to me.
His father ran a Brazilian Kenjutsu dojo.
Genjutsu. That's a school of Japanese swordplay.
A lot of Japanese immigrated to Brazil way back when. They brought martial arts with them. Those evolved and became their own offshoots. You've heard of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? It's their variation on Judo. Brazilian Kenjutsu's the same kind of thing. A different evolution of the old samurai sword skills. Bit of capoeira and some other stuff mixed in. Anyway, I did some digging. Apparently, the Rodriguez dojo was a big proponent of the Uridachi style.
Uridachi, a.k.a. Setsujinken, the murdering sword. Basically the polar opposite of my sword of justice.
Rodriguez Kenjutsu uses kicks, sword butts, even throws. Unpredictable and very deadly. Anyway, this is interesting. Sam's father was killed by one of his pupils. There were rumors one of the cartels was involved, but it's not clear how or why. After that, Sam disappears for a while, then comes back, kills the guy who killed his dad, and leaves Brazil. He travels the world for a while, taking odd jobs, bodyguard, cleaner for the mob, etc., etc. Made a big name for himself in the criminal underworld, especially in Central and South America. One story has Sam taking out a mafia hit squad, 10 men, all with assault rifles, using only his sword.
Not unheard of for a cyborg.
This was back in the early 2000s.
Come on. He did that without enhancements? And pre-SOP?
That's the story anyway. And he's a cyborg now, so he could only be stronger. Not to freak you out or anything,
I told you, Kev. I got a reading on his fighting style from last time, and my body's been upgraded. I'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh. I know you will be. Raiden, head for the oil refinery.
Hey, Courtney. Have you ever tried Abkhazian cuisine?
Georgian, yes, but I mean, I don't really know much about Abkhazia, so it'd be nice to try it, though, since we're this close and all.
Huh. Even you haven't tried it? Now I'm really curious.
What do you mean, even me?
Well, before we head to any new country, you always hit up local spots that serve their cuisine, right? You know, your little research trips.
Oh, come on. Not always. I just think it's interesting to compare local interpretations of ethnic food to the real thing. Plus, it's a great way to get familiar with a big part of any nation's culture. That's all.
Okay. But no time for research this time around, huh?
Well, like I said, I've had Georgian food before. And most of the Eastern Bloc sees Abkhazia as just another part of Georgia. But yeah, really tasty. They had this incredible cheese bread. Ugh, and the wine.
Georgian wine is famous after all, though I hear you won't find it in Russian.
They say most Abkhazian cuisine is closer to Turkish food than what you'll find in the rest of Georgia. Apparently only their wine resembles what they serve in Georgia.
How are things back at Control, Courtney?
Things? Things are fine. Same as usual, I guess. Russia is, Russia. Not that I've left HQ much to see anything, really.
No concerns about security? Isn't that a civilian airport you're stationed at?
Sochi International, yeah. But we're fine. We have our own cyborg detail on the job. Plus, any trouble and we can just take off. Literally. One of the perks of housing your HQ in a giant transport plane, I guess. Now, if anyone wanted to mess up this op, they'd have a much easier time coming after you directly.
I'm not so sure. Have you seen this new body in action? It's amazing. It's ready for anything. Unless they...
Oh, Raiden, yeah. Your body? It's so amazing.
Very funny. Yeah, you know what I meant.
Oh, is it getting hot in here? Or is that just your body in action?
All right. If you're done, I'm going to get back to the mission.
Okay, I'll stop.
Thanks.
For a guy with a bod like yours, anytime. By the way, I picked up something interesting on that tilt rotor back in Africa.
Desperado's getaway vehicle? What do you got?
I traced its registration. It comes up as a, get this, mail transport, a Somali civilian helicopter.
Not even the right type of aircraft. So the registration is fake. Well, par for the course for Desperado, I guess.
I wonder why they bothered with the tilt rotor in the first place.
Why not? They can take off and land without an airstrip, virtually anywhere. Hover, too. Meanwhile, they have the speed and range of a fixed-wing plane, or close to it. And they're quiet. You don't get all that BVI noise from the blades like with a normal copter.
Aren't they more accident-prone, though?
They were. Used to call them Widowmakers. The rotor tech is really complex. There've been a lot of mishaps over the years, but each one's helped perfect the design. These days, they're as safe as any other aircraft, helicopter or fixed-wing. Most of VTOL's bad rep is left over from the thrust vectoring jets of the past.
No wonder you know all this. Says here you took down a Harrier once. Wait, by yourself?
Well, I did have a rocket launcher. Wasn't so tough while it was in hover mode.
I bet you're just being modest. Must have been a pretty crazy op you were on.
You don't know the half of it. That was a Hammerhead, right? I know it's the first canard rotor wingcraft to go into general use.
Mm-hmm. Capable of taking off vertically like a helicopter with a fixed wing mode for speedy flight. A jet nozzle on the rotor provides the propulsion that spins the rotor and keeps the craft hovering. During flights, the rotor is fixed, becoming the craft's main wing. The tail wings and canards, the wings on the far front, provide lift while the craft is changing modes.
Pretty wild. And the Hammerhead's the only one out there.
The design began as DARPA-funded research. The craft they designed could take off and hover well enough, but they could never figure out how to handle going over to fixed wing. The project was cancelled in 2006, but AT Corps apparently picked up where they left off.
Sounds like a troubled development.
But worth the effort. Unlike a helicopter or tilt rotor, the machinery spinning the rotor is exceedingly simple. Not only does it cut down on weight, but maintenance is made easier. In fixed-wing mode, it is no different from any other jet aircraft, giving it a decisive speed advantage. I must say it's well suited as an escort to a tilt rotor, too.
I can see you're a fan.
Oh, I'm a fan of anything imaginatively designed. As a scientist, it pushes all my buttons, one would say. In terms of innovation, it shares a great deal with the Triebflügel, a World War II-era German concept craft. It, too, utilized the tip-jet concept.
Doesn't look like it has any business being in the air, though. I'd be kind of nervous riding in one.
Oh, but that's just what would make the ride such fun, no? I'm a firm believer in the case for more pie-in-the-sky experimentation like this. We live in an age of UGs, after all. We don't even need test pilots.
No one's gonna get on if it crashes, Doc. Hey, Doc. Kev mentioned a lot of the high-ranking military were brain-jacked. Can you give me any more on that?
Well, it is not my area of expertise, but I have working knowledge of such matters, yes. Much of it is similar to cybernetics, you know.
Makes sense. A cyborg's frame is reading signals directly from the brain.
Indeed. Brainjacking employs nanomachines to stop these signals from reaching a normal body. The pilot can then substitute their own signals and control the victim. They can govern all motor movement, but not the victim's thoughts. It is not mind control. More like a puppet. The subject will not move on their own. The pilot must send control signals.
You can't just implant an idea like a hypnotist.
Precisely. You must manipulate them directly. Now, there are several methods for doing this. The pilot can act out the desired behavior and send the resulting electric impulses in real time. For example, the master raises his right hand, the victim does the same. The master says, Arschgeige, and the victim does as well.
Yeah, I get the idea, Doc.
Another method is to set an AI in control as a victim. Less convincing, but less labor-intensive. The AI can access the subject's memory center, at least, to recognize acquaintances and the like.
But anyone looks really closely, and the gig is up.
Mimicking behavior from surface memories is difficult, you know. Quite difficult. AIs are still very poor at replicating more subtle cues, such as the manner of speaking. As a result, often the victim can barely pass as a human, much less any certain individual. With the current tech, a passing acquaintance might be fooled, but not a close friend. Not for long.
Good. The idea of AIs controlling people is bad enough. At least I'll be able to tell if it happens to someone I know.